Hey all, welcome to my channel. Today I'm just going to talk and rant a little bit about George Santos. Normally I don't talk about politics. The only reason why I'm doing this is if you've seen some other videos as well too, because he's my congressman for my district basically. Even though I moved out for a bit, but in case I didn't vote for him, but he still ultimately won. Um, it Let's just talk about it right now. The indictment of George Santos, Republican from New York, basically, and like it was going to happen. You knew all the lies that were coming out once he was elected, once he got into Congress, all the stuff that was coming out of CNN and all the news media outlets. Everything was coming out about all his lies. It was only a matter of time. There was going to be some shady stuff that was done with what he was doing basically, and it was only a matter of time before he was going to be indicted. So if you haven't, I don't know if you've been under a rock or something like that, but uh, for any U.S. citizen that is, Santos was indicted on 13 federal charges, including wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and making false statements to Congress. The charges allege that Santos solicited campaigns funds under false pretenses, used them for personal expenses, and fraudulently applied for unemployment benefits. One of which is basically really surprising is basically he used the COVID 2020 unemployment aspect, unemployment, to basically, even though he was making $120,000 at a supposedly in a Florida firm, he was still getting unemployment checks, which was from New York, the state of New York, which was hit pretty much hard from COVID, for about $24,000. Now, of course, Santos has pled not guilty to all charges. If he convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison on each count of wire fraud and money laundering, and up to 5 years in prison in each of the count of theft of public funds and making false statements to Congress. Now, of course, the personal expenses where he was using the funds was buying lavish suits, essentially, and paying off mortgages and debt, basically credit card bills, whatever it may be. But he was also buying designer clothes from those funds. Now, Santos's indictment is a serious matter that raises questions about his fitness to serve in Congress. Now, the question is, will he resign or not? So one of the things is, this one thing basically shows, this brings up something that's really pretty much what which hasn't been applied for quite some time until now, and it should be bringing up much more for some of our candidates running for Congress as well as any political office, is the need for strong ethics rules, and enforcement mechanisms in Congress. There seems to be nothing of that nature at this point right now, quite honestly. Um, Now, if he's convicted, of course, it will create a vacancy in the U.S. House of Representatives. That's only if he's convicted. Now, the question is, if he's found not guilty, uh, will he vacate his seat? Now, a lot of his GOP colleagues, as well as Democrat colleagues, of course, are asking for him to step down, resign the seat. McCarthy, of course, doesn't want him to resign because why? He needs his vote. Because without Santos, he not only not only won the House majority leadership, and now also this national debt ceiling as well too. That's all involved in this point, and this is why this is playing a huge factor at this point. If his seat is up for grabs, of course, the New York State Republican Party will hold a special election to fill the vacancy. The winner of the special election will serve the remainder of the Santos term, which ends in, of course, January 2025, which is 2 years from now. So this is a big thing. I think I mentioned it in a couple of videos as well too in the past. When I found out about the fact that this guy lied and such, to the point where it made references almost to the point where these lies almost were pretty much similar to this movie, The Distinguished Gentleman by Eddie Murphy. Basically a con man that gets into Congress. And that's what Santos was and is, a con man. He lied his way into Congress. He basically took money, and I think he probably saw the movie, saw some of the people, how they were getting in Congress and how they're making money. He figured, okay, hey, you know what? Let me get some campaign contributions, divert to some funding for myself and there. It was more of a case where it was only a matter of time. If he was in Congress, he was going to divert some funds towards him anyways. He was going to defraud me basically, as well as all of his constituents, of money and taxpayers' money for that matter at that point, for his lavish lifestyle. And I don't think anyone realizes it. And that's one of the things I was a little concerned about, surprisingly, with our district, my district that I'm in, basically, where it was mostly liberal Democrats. And like somehow he was elected for some reason. I don't know how. I think it's more of a case of like when it came to the taxation, that's one of the big things. I think it came down to that at that point, as well as the inflational aspect of things. I don't know. That's a possibility. Once Biden came in, I think because inflation went up, I think people were tired, as well as their property taxes going up. I don't think he was going to do anything that he was not going to solve that issue. I think it was more of a case where whatever he could do to bilk money out of his constituents, as well as taxpayer money, to line his own pockets. I think that's what was going to happen. I think the reason why I'm saying this is because from this movie itself, this man basically pretty much did almost the exact same thing. Congress pretty much makes money. Now the real question is like, can anyone actually, will this man actually be convicted? It's hard to say. I mean, it depends on how much money he's going to get. Quite honestly, this is something that I'm not too thrilled about. I'm not happy that. Well, I'm not. It's not more of a not happy, but it's more of a case of like, I'm more disappointed in the district that I'm in, as far as the constituents that voted for him. The other aspect as well, some people probably were just tired and they just didn't want to go and vote in 2022. In reality, I don't think people knew until they realized what had happened. Because personally, myself as well too, I voted for, I forgot his name, who I voted for. God damn, I wish I remembered it. Honestly, I didn't remember who Santos was. I just voted Democrat at that point. I mean, that was more of a case because I was leaning toward it, because like at the time I was with Ackerman. Ackerman was always a really good representative. And in this case, when I voted, I thought, as well as others, maybe, no one's going to be crazy enough, because like our district was mostly liberal. Am I a liberal? Yeah, but I want to say I'm more of a conservative Democrat than a liberal Democrat. I mean, that could be a liberal Republican, but I'm more of a conservative Democrat than a liberal Democrat, quite honestly. Because there's only so much I want government involved in, basically. I mean, universal healthcare, that's great. I would not mind having universal healthcare, but at the same time, it won't work. Why won't it work? Bureaucracy. Because with the bureaucracy, it's always going to, it's just like, with socialism, communism, you'll see it everywhere, basically, to the point of if you have universal healthcare, whoever has the money can still make out at that point. Whereas in this case, yes, it's true, more money does get you better healthcare. Even if it's universal healthcare, there's still going to be a bureaucracy to the point where like people will not see the proper doctors that are needed. Other people that are more important will get preferential treatment. And if they say, well, no, we'll have guards in place for that. Well, if that's true, if there are guards placed for that, explain Congress. Because you can pretty much lobby their way, bribe them off, and get whatever you need at that point. So it's the same thing with the bureaucratic establishment, basically. If there's universal healthcare, all you have to do is bribe some people in the bureaucracy to get ahead of people to get, for transplants, which is what's being done nowadays as well, too. So it's not going to be any different anyways, quite honestly. And they're not going to be safeguards or checks in place. If there is, that'd be great. But I don't know how you create those checks, because the problem is like the checks are people, and those people have issues, and they're going to owe favors or give favors out as well, too. So let's not forget that. So in this case, this is a man where I think it was a disappointment and a little bit of shock from some of the constituents. Like, wait, what, who, what, how, what, how? While some people that did vote for him, like, oh, they probably believed him because like he knew, the thing is, I think he knew the right areas to market the people and hit the, basically market himself to the people, to constituents, to the actual voters that will go out and vote basically at that point. I mean, numbers don't lie, stats don't lie. So if you can see like, like one area in the district is going to vote for more, you go in that district, you start polling as heavily as you can, as well as marketing yourself, campaigning like crazy, basically to, for on your own, for yourself, basically, and get some people involved at that point as well too. Now, the real question I'm trying to figure out is like, for the people that were in his campaign and that helped him out, not his consultants, but like some of the low-end people, I guess I said, like the grunts. I wonder what they feel like now, what they must be thinking to themselves. Do they still believe in this man, or Are they like, why did I do this? What just happened? This man are they thinking this man conned us, or are they still with them? So that'll be interesting to see. I'll leave it at that. You guys are welcome to leave a comment about this. Let me know your thoughts. Any comments you leave, any comments you leave, I do read them. I do respond to them when they warrant a response. And of course, if you do enjoy my videos or like watching my videos, or even hate watching my videos but still want to watch my videos, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And you're welcome to like or dislike the video. It's up to you, basically. I do say like you shouldn't hit the notification button because I don't think my videos are notify worthy at this point. And of course, as time progresses, I'm hoping to get better in this, quite honestly. Yeah, in this case, usually it's not scripted. In this case, usually I'm off the cuff, but in this case, this is one time I actually do have some bullet points in place. I did need some I did need some facts to read off basically to you guys. So those were fact checked about the 13 federal charges, wire fraud, money laundering, and such. So I left it at that. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.